We're back, guys. It was only a minute and a half. Literally the shortest breaks I've ever had here in Korea, but that just means more action for you guys. We're going to be jumping straight into the TVZ aLive versus Dark. aLive just coming back into Korea after heading over to LA, I believe it was, or somewhere in California.
Yeah, I believe
for
it was
the Ting finals.
I think it was either LA or San Francisco, but definitely California somewhere. He's had some time to get back, be adjusted. Unfortunately for him, not a great performance, not the championship title that he wanted. No shame in getting third place, but definitely would have liked to go up there to the finals. Or Neeb actually lost to Gumiho, so Neeb's still holding strong. But there he is, a long-time player, and he has been just in general a lot more solid in recent times than his old career, right? He was an IPL champion like 2012. And then he fell out of form for a long time. Weak player in the GSL, very weak performances in Pro League, for example. But Legacy of the Void seems to be his game, and you know, he's got a Siege tank here as his emblem. He used to have the Cloak icon because he's so good with Cloak Banshees. I suppose he's changed his style up quite a bit since then, and he doesn't play gimmicks. He doesn't play all-ins. He's very aggressive as a player.
Yeah.
But he's really good. He's tuned that aggression into something that's a lot stronger than what he was doing, say, a year or two ago.
You can see that he doesn't have any achievement points just yet, as he has not won one game. He is 0-4. Obviously, one of those series he didn't get to play because he wasn't in Korea. Dark, though, is 2-2. Took 1-2-0 and lost 1-0-2.
Yeah, losing to Innovation last week. Pretty rough series there.
And he absolutely spanked Patience when they came together in the first day of SSL Premier, which is kind of what we expected. I think, you know, coming into SSL Premier, Patience was definitely one of the surprises, but at the same time, can we really be surprised? Because he always does so well in SSL.
Yeah, he does well in SSL, poorly in GSL and in Pro League, but here we go. I'd say Dark is the favorite. He looked solid against Innovation. The final score there against Innovation, obviously 0-2, and in Game 2 he did get a bit bopped, but I'd say definitely held his own, and if aLive is not prepared for this investor style into Ultralisk, he will have trouble, but I feel like there's a lot for him to study, so this should be a close series no matter which way you look at it.
Yeah, and you guys can see the maps there at the bottom. We're going to get right into set number 1 here between aLive and Dark.
Hola, Haniso. Dark, Hangyoung.
Here we are on Abyssal Reef for game number 1. And up here in the top left, the blue Terran, it is aLive. Recently joining Mind Sanity, actually.
That's right. I suppose he just doesn't have his jersey yet, but was announced today. Let's put it down here at the bottom right. Star League champion, it is Dark. Definitely most known for this matchup, the ZVT, where he showcased a lot of different types of aggression as well as corruptors in the late game. And I'm talking about Broodlordless corruptors. Corruptors instead of Mulis to deal with medevacs for their armor value and also their ability to just kind of float around and drop defense. Really is the only player who's consistently shown that style. And also did innovate a little bit, I'd say, in the early stages of Legacy of the Void. Baneling play along with Rogue in the ZVP matchup. So, a smart player, good mechanical player. Innovation just had his number though, and it just out-macroed him. And the games were super textbook. If you go back and watch them, there's one where he died to like a Doom drop, and the other game where he just straight up knew everything that Dark was going to do, countered the infestors.
Hit a really good timing. I think it was on Overgrowth, where he's just like, yeah, I know what you have at this point. I dodge all the fungal growths, and then I just kill you. Yeah. And it was before, it was like, maybe like 20 seconds, 15 seconds before the Ultras popped out. It was perfect timing, and that's kind of what we know from the Robot Terran, right? He's like, okay, I have downloaded the build. I am going to kill you now. And that's what happened. I don't get the same sense out of aLive, but I'm sure he did study those builds.
You actually pointed out very adeptly last week that the switch from Widow Mines into Siege Tanks was one of the great reasons why Innovation had such an easier time in the second game. aLive coming in with a Siege Tank emblem here. We'll see if he takes a similar approach. Now, Dark may change his style up, as I feel like his predictability in that last best of 3 was part of the reason why Innovation did dismantle him so hard, especially in that second game. What time will tell here as we see aLive coming up with his factory. They're going to send 2 Marines out here as the Shadow of the Space Shark is watching. He's going to look to kill this Overlord, deny the scout.
I think it's going to be so close, but either way, trying to get that down, and down it does go, and that's really annoying for Dark early on. We'll have to make an extra Overlord.
The SCP stared the Overlord down, man. He was like, he's like, I'm building a CC. He looks, he's like, you're not making it. It's a bit rude, honestly, really, in the Overlord's last moments to just interrupt the CC and stare him down there. Pretty sure he did see the CC making.
Ooh.
3rd CC, that's probably part of the reason why he committed to killing that.
Yeah. Just speaking of CCs, and with the build aLive did, no Reaper, just earlier factory, gets out reactor Hellions after the first 2 Marines that were the Overlord Killers, I guess you should call them. And now he's going to be looking to deny scouting on this 3rd CC, because Dark could definitely look to punish this if he gets wind of this build from aLive.
Would have been the almost theatrical if those slings had gotten in after all of the effort he spent to deny scouting, but a good reaction there. Pulls the depots up. Lings are cleared by Hellions. And Stim is on the way. aLive looking to just have this smashing economy, you know, and take this quick Stim, ton of Marines, and power across, parade push, and just make sure that Dark never takes a 4th base. So far undetected. Dark has a quick 3rd. And going to continue to scout with these Lings. Looking to see, he knows that aLive has spent so much time denying scouting that it's a possibility that, for example, Click Banshees were coming his way or something like that. So he just wants to be super safe. Lings shut down at the gates once again.
Yeah, can't even make it to the ramp. Poor guys. They get a decent look at exactly how many units there are. And he's like, okay, you still have just 2 Marines and 2 Hellions. That's kind of weird. You should probably have more if you were going for a more standard build.
Yeah, notice how little information he has, though. And that's exactly what aLive wanted here. Sends these groups of 2 Lings in every time. Oh, this time he gets in. Finally. 3rd time's a charm, I suppose, with these Lings. And we'll see quite literally everything. Most importantly, that 2nd CC, the barracks here as well, the fast Stim. And he's going to look to get Baneling speed here quickly. And may even take a greedier 4th. He can't take it right now, but look to get that up fairly early once he gets that Baneling speed out. He's droning up heavily to make up for the deficit in terms of economy. And 2 eBays come up here for aLive. And it's not that it's unfortunate he got scouted because it's like, oh, now he's Dark knows everything. The fact that he kept it hidden this long is pretty good. It's good enough, I'd say.
Yeah, it's like he gets away with it in a sense. I mean, Dark, as you said, will be able to know that he's quite safe for a while and just be like, okay, I need to prepare for this double drop that will come right now. But outside of that, I do have a lot of time, you know, an extra 30 seconds to a minute to just drone up pretty heavily. First 2 drops are coming out. Let's see what Dark has right now. He has 6 Lings and 67 drones. Yeah. So he definitely needs to get a little bit more than what he has right now, because Stim is done, and that drop can definitely be a bit scary.
He has good creep coverage. He has several Queens here, but if they just hard engage, he's going to need more, and that's what these 18 Lings he's got in production are for now. 6 Zerglings, or excuse me, Banelings on the way here as well. That fast 4th I was talking about is scouted out right away here. aLive takes it out, forces that cancel. It's going to hit before the Banelings are ready. Oh, this is disastrous. Okay, he does get the majority of them done here. 2 canceled. Can just fight back here. There's not enough Lings. Ooh! Some Marines get left behind, though.
Yeah, the other medevac full of Marines almost dies. Look at how low that is. I'm actually going to click that, because I have an Observer PC now. 14 health on that 1 medevac.
Yeah.
Just a couple more hits from one of those Queens.
So that almost backfired. Now Dark, I mean, I'd say it fairly did. Dark can take this 4th base now. His creep was not really hindered because aLive got greedy in how aggressively pushed forward to try to kill those banelings. So the creep is going to be extended in 3 directions, uncontested so far. 2 drops looking to clear it now. Here's the first, the second one on the left side there. But Dark buys valuable time here. He has baneling speed now. He's making 11, 13 more drones. He's going to have a Spire. These drops aren't going to be as meaningful anymore, and he should be able to maintain very nice creep spread going forward. Ooh, this is a lucky Hellion placement, but he needs more.
Oh, okay. Looks like with the Marines there, he will be able to stop that from coming on in. We do have a macro hatchery here in the main for Dark. He has not built any infestation pit just yet. He is going to Ling Bane Spire, so Mutas no doubt will be on the way here in just a bit. So he is deviating a bit from that style that we saw him play against Innovation.
Definitely, and I think this is what's super important to note. Like we were saying, to expect a potential deviation because of how predictable he played in the previous set. The drops here can't continue to be this aggressive. Perhaps he thinks they can because, you know, he's expecting Infestor to be coming up soon, which is a little bit easier to still use drops against. But the creep, he cleared some of it, but that big window to do massive damage to the creep and deny that 4th because he was so aggressive there, he was just doing as much as he can here with a small group of units. The Muta's going to pop out here soon. Notice the upgrades are dead even as well, which is always great for a Zerg. Here come those Mutas. Ooh, he's staying for the creep. And actually gets away with it. Nicely done.
Now he's on the chase. Trying to snipe down the Muta. He does get 2.
Perhaps 3. He has a boost. Not going to use it. Check this out for a second. All right, here comes another stim. Oop, looks like perhaps not a scan.
Sides against it as the swarm is coming his way. Dark actually taking another base. And yeah, Dark getting just a little bit aggressive. You can see now Widowmine's being added into the mix as he does see exactly what the composition of Dark is. Definitely going to need some AoE to deal with all the Lings and the Banes.
Yeah, in terms of micromanagement, though, of armies, aLive is definitely winning in that regard. He's got a lot of free units here, making this a pretty strong push coming across the map. Remember, he had that early 3rd CC, he had this extra economy, he had those extra barracks. Dark has a ton of drones. He's got a great economy, but this army is tough and strong moving across the map here. He wants to try to catch it with his speed banes. There are 17 available. Widowmine's set up here as well. Just 4 of them currently in the mix. As he moves over to the right side towards that 4th base. A small run by was cleaned up there.
Dark is going to go up to 20 Mutas here, which is a really nice number. If he can ever take a pretty big fight, he'll be able to clean up a lot of the straggling units. Some Banelings rolling forward, trying to proc a bunch of the Widowmines. Didn't really get the best hits. I think they took about 2 of the Widowmines out. Here he comes, trying to go for the flank now. The Widowmine's not with the best hit. A lot of reinforcements, though, of aLive coming from the left side, and Dark did not want to go off creep.
Yeah, losing those Banelings was so disastrous that he didn't have any other Banelings left. Look at this, Marauders in the front, DPS in the back here. This actually may just be a killing blow. The Banelings are not ready yet. aLive is not going to overextend this time to try to force the cancel on, though. Very indecisive right now, actually, but he's got so much medevac healing. He can stim and run away as much as he wants. Retreating back again. Once again, the Marauders in the front. And this is a ton of DPS now in this Marine ball.
Yeah, some decent Baneling hits is going to cut down on the number. You can see just how many medevacs are here now. And this is going to force aLive to pick up and pull back, as he couldn't really deal with that heavy Muta number. I think him staying for just that little extra bit before regrouping. But now Dark going way off creep here.
Yeah, Dark overextending here, and this is a big problem. You know, he takes a massive lead here in supply. He's got a great economy, but his army is tiny. And he's lucky that he's on 2-2 upgrades now against this Terran army. He might be dead right now. Just trying to hang on a little bit longer here. aLive continues to push forward, trying to grab this queen here. Not a whole lot of Banelings, that's the problem. You know, he needs Banes. Now they're ready, and he can just simply pick up and walk away.
Yeah, this is when he has to micro back into the Widowmines, and he does do so very nicely this time around. Banelings get okay hits, but you can see that Dark, every time he goes very far off creep, doesn't have too much success. But aLive, he has to be careful.
Yeah, it's like the Banelings are never ready to fight on creep. They're only ready to fight off creep, which is giving aLive this micro advantage here. The Mutalisks, though, stay alive, and they regen so quickly with their passive, and that's really what's whittling down the army of aLive. aLive actually lifts his main CC now to land it as a 4th. He didn't have 3-3 this entire time, mind you. And now Dark with a 5th base. being planted. 3-3 is so close to being done, but not close enough.
Yeah.
As he regroups for another attack here, but Dark has finally stabilized.
And now that he's stabilized, that's extremely important that you mention it, because look at his gas bank. He has so much larva too, with 5 bases and a macro hatch. He can keep up in production and keep ahead of aLive very, very easily with the composition, even with the composition that he is going for. So as long as from here he takes some pretty good fights and then eventually does transition, I think he should be okay. I like this play where he's sending his gigantic flock of mutas. He's got 21 in that flock. Just going for a counterattack at the natural and forcing a response out of aLive.
Yeah. The Overseer's at the back, which won't matter with no Widowmine set up here. And he could try to get a little bit fancy with his micro here. He will pick up a few Marines, Brood War style here. Just clumping up and stacking up. But now he might find himself caught. But either way, this is a lot of damage done. Killing these turrets. 3-3 about the finish here, but look at how much he's already accomplished.
Man. The SCVs come back into the Muta flock.
Not enough Marines here. He's kind of doing the horseshoe effect. Oh boy.
Coming into the third base. A lot of still alive SCVs. He did get a bunch of damage done, but definitely some opportunity for more damage over there at the third.
He killed several medevacs as well. With the 1A effect, the medevacs will take the fastest route possible as the Marines are stuck walking around that little crevasse, the horseshoe as I call it, and this is going to be a crushed tiny bioforce here. Here comes the rest of the army. The mutas aren't with it, but all these banelings do finish, and 18 more about to finish behind them.
Looks like a massive Widowmine hit went off. And here come the banelings. They do finish. He is getting off creep, but still just so much stuff here for Dark. It looks like it may just be way too much in the swarm.
It looks like it. Even with the 3-3 upgrades now, the army just isn't large enough despite having this off creep position. He's trying to micro his heart out here, but there's just too much on the ground, and this should be it. Now taking a 100 supply lead is Dark. GG. Finally stabilized on that 4th base. aLive with a really aggressive attack, and he just kept hitting these windows where Dark didn't have enough banelings, then the banelings went off creep when they were ready. But the Mutalisk whittled everything down. The Mutalisk count was always around 20, and they just regen so fast. He didn't lose too many of them. Yeah. There were some shaky moments, like at the beginning when he had the Mutas, where he's overcommitting fighting Marines, but after that, it was tight.
Yeah, aLive definitely had a chance there with the momentum that he had attacking that 4th base, where if he didn't, I think it was the 2nd attack or the 3rd attack where he went just too far on creep, and then the banelings all popped, and he kind of got surrounded there and took a little bit too much damage. If he didn't take that damage and kept up the pressure, I think maybe aLive wins that game and takes down the 4th base at least. Maybe he doesn't win it, but gets a nice advantage. But Dark, nice job holding on, and definitely looked pretty good in that game. We are going to be jumping into Belcher Vestige now for game 2.
All right, 2-player map here. This time a much smaller one, a lot more opportunity for aLive to make that aggression work, but if he couldn't make it work with a free 3rd base this time, I don't know if that's the way to go about things going into game number 2.
So guys, we are going to be jumping into that right now. We'll see if Dark can seal the deal here with the 2-0, or will aLive bring it back for another best of 3 3-match series. Let's see if we can do it, jumping into game number 2.
aLive, Haniso, Dark, 황영우.
Here we are on Belcher Vestige, down in the bottom right. The blue Terran needs to win 2 in a row. It is aLive.
Stabilizing there in the mid game. His opponent, Dark, does take the 1-0 lead, the favorite to win it here. Keep in mind, we're still early. It's only week 3, but a win here for Dark, as we see it looks like a 2 barracks proxy. A win here for Dark would put aLive at 0-6 in Premier. Not a record you want to walk away with. So likely to be a Reaper opening here for aLive as he sends these out. No gas yet, though. Is that a 3rd SCV? Is he just going to triple Marine proxy?
It looks like it's going to be Marines.
Yeah, it looks that way.
Yeah, here we go. aLive, he's like, okay, I tried it once. I couldn't macro against Dark. I'm just not even going to try it again. And for me, it's almost like respect to Dark. It's like, okay, I feel like I can't keep up to this guy. But also, I mean, I don't know. It could be a lot of different things, I suppose. He could just be saying, okay, he's not going to expect me to cheese here on this map. A two-player map like this where there's so much ground for the Overlords to cover that it's very hard for the Zerg to get a scout. So it could be me just projecting my feelings of Dark being the better player, but it also could be, you know, aLive just trying to do a cool build for the map.
Yeah, I mean, there's never any way to know. He may have just planned for this to do this on this map, no matter what happened in game number 1, even if he smashed Dark. Yeah. Look at the Overlord coverage. I mean, he puts it just right in the middle of the V. If you look at the V that's kind of going towards the bottom right of the mini-map, he's right in between the legs, if you will, of this vision. And so he's definitely, look at the mini-map. He's planned this perfectly. He knows the Overlord scouting patterns on this map, and I know this looks really basic, but it is, you know, a high-level, you know, proxy. You can't just put those barracks anywhere. It's very well practiced. And now he's going to take these. Oh man.
He still doesn't know. The ling's missing, and he needs those 2 lings for the defense.
He needs a lot more. He just made 2 drones. Just started 2 drones. That could have been 4 lings. This might just be a straight-up win here. He's going to target this queen down right away, pushing it onto the creep here, making another queen right away, and 2 more lings. That's all he can make. The Overlord's going to go down as well, and this is a big problem, Valdez.
He can't make any units. He needs another Overlord. He's going to have 4 lings popping out against this, and there's already a bunker prepared down there at the bottom of the ramp. He does get a surrounds here on all the Marines, though.
This is, I mean, I cannot even describe the mistake that is to lose all Marines like that. I mean, he had the game won, essentially. Now, it's not over yet. But had he been a little bit more passive, a little bit more conservative with his Marines, he gets back with all of his Marines, and there's twice as many Marines suddenly at this natural. Now, he still has a lot, he still has the bunker, so this natural is almost dead for sure. Well, this could have been a lot better for aLive. Either way, Dark with that swift drone pull here does keep himself alive for the time being, no pun intended.
Yeah.
Second bunker coming up here.
Oh, actually loses another Overlord. Definitely not what he wanted to happen here. And now the queen being focused down.
Yeah, losing that queen is so painful. He did stop the bunkering, but needs some micro back. This hatchery is going to fall, it looks like. He'll have a transfuse in a moment here. He may just try to bust this with his lings, but he doesn't have enough because of the Overlord kills. He's just going to go for it anyways.
Yeah, a lot of lings. And look at that position on the Marines, getting in between the 2 bunkers here. Trying to focus down that 1 bunker, though. It will pop here, but still lots of Marines left over, and they will take out all the lings.
Yeah. And that was just, it was a lot of resources spent. He's going to try to save the hatch with the transfuse here. Might have been better off used on the ling at this point. Down it goes. You know, he has a queen here at least. Pushes this back even with the broodlings. But aLive is in a great position now. He's ahead in workers. He can expand. He can't continue to pressure with these. He just needs to make sure he keeps this wall tight.
Yeah, this is interesting. He was thinking about going for a counterattack, but then decides against it. And aLive even brings his Marines back to defend these racks. Wants to make sure he can get more of these Marines out.
The mobility advantage is absolutely Dark's. I feel like he could leave 4 lings at the ramp, you know, and just force a repair while then using these lings to help defend. He's going to force a bigger reaction, though. Well, 3, I guess, is the number. He changes his mind and sends everything else back for the time being. Drone here, unscouted. This is nice for Dark. Oh, the Overlord out of position here once more. Will just get picked off. Mechanical error here as aLive comes in for the kill. A lot of these Marines weakened from the Queens earlier, but he just doesn't have enough damage here with the lings. They were gone. Now they're coming back, but it's just too late.
He's going to attempt to put off one last defense, trying to get the surround, but still a large contingency of these Marines left over. GG, aLive takes game number 2 with a nice little cheese.
Well executed. Imagine how strong. This is his first win achievement, so he's not going to go out of this one 0-6 tonight. Currently 1-4, but he, they're 1-5 actually. He did get a bit over aggressive with those Marines there, got drone drilled, got surrounded, but regardless of that, you know, he just had such a great build. Dark made those 2 extra drones, and had some really aggressive moves with his queen. I like that he denied the second bunker, which was critical, but then he lost his queen right afterwards. An expensive trade-off there, and when you just are, you know, in the dark, sometimes cheeses like this win you the game. I swear I'm not trying to make these puns a thing, but it's just happening. I guess that's how.
It's just the way your brain works, man. Yeah. You just can't control it.
I can't.
So here we are, jumping into another game 3, aLive versus Dark. And we will be going into Daybreak now for this third game. So aLive, if he could come out with another sneaky build like that, could definitely take this one. Daybreak, an interesting map. We might just have another straight-up macro game, having these two players go head-to-head and see if aLive can do it this time around.
Here we go. Time to see if he can do it, if he can bring it back. Going into an old classic map, Daybreak. It's going to game number 3, aLive versus Dark, here at the Jenner Starlink Premiere.
aLive, 한이서 Dark, 황영우.
Pretty big cheer there for Dark coming into this one. And down on the bottom left, the blue Terran, it is aLive. Sneaky tease there. The stinky one is able to sneak a game.
Off of this guy to the top, the big favorite in this best of 3, Dark. 2016 Season 1 SSL champion. Looking for another title here in 2017 domestically. Driving an incredible BlizzCon run at the end of the year. Started strong, finished strong. So, on Daybreak, obviously, there's a lot to talk about in terms of the map. It's a map that is familiar to hardcore StarCraft fans of the Korean scene, but perhaps if you're a newer fan, you're like, I know everyone says I'm so tired of this map, but I've never seen it before. Third base is fairly far away, and there's a fast path to it comparatively. I mean, it's not a short map by any means, but defending that third base can be a challenge, especially against parade pushes, and taking a fourth base against an aggressive style like aLive showed in the first game is definitely going to be a lot tougher here because of the distance between the bases. If you can get your creep spread up without a hitch, it gets a lot easier. You get your lings up, you have the baneling speed, and you deal with it. But we just saw, on game number 1, which was on Abyssal Reef, just that knife's edge of how aLive was so close to breaking Dark's back there. And on this map, it's a lot tougher, I'd say, depending on how much the creep gets spread.
Is Jackie the same map maker that made Frost?
I believe so, yeah. He's one of the most famous map makers in the StarCraft 2 community.
So I recognize that name.
Yeah, he's in the Prime clan, actually, which still exists despite the team's disbanding. And yeah, I mean, he's a great map maker. This is one of the legends of old. I believe he might have made Tal'Darim Altar, if anyone remembers that map as well. That map had mixed reviews, but I think that was like his big break, and perhaps Crossfire, which was another map I wasn't a big fan of. But anyway, I'm going to see this Overlord get up to its pedestal this time. Very different map than the previous one. This type of Overlord pedestal has kind of always been around in StarCraft 2, especially in Korean maps, so that the Zerg always has kind of a peaking idea.
Got to give him some idea what's going on with only the Overlords and some lings to scout early on. And starting off the game here for aLive, he does just go for 1 CC this time, adds a second barracks a little bit faster with that factory coming on up. Looks like perhaps he wants to do the double drop, kind of what he did in game number 1, just a little bit faster without the third CC. Wants to put on that pressure with the early infantry upgrades.
Yeah. This tech lab coming up early. There's the stim. Overlord speed, pretty essential on this map especially. And he wants to be able to get an idea of what's coming his way. With the watchtowers too, preemptively is super important. And I mean, this early game is going to shape up to be pretty similar to what we've seen already, just without the fast third CC. Starport coming up early instead, so we'll be seeing a little more drop action. And around 3:30, we see Dark plant that third base location. He has Overlord coverage right now, and at this early stage in the game, it's of course common for you to place that. We'll check Dark's base this time for the third CC. Doesn't really actually, I mean, this is good coverage by aLive. He doesn't see much.
He just sees 1 barracks and sees the reactor, the amount of Marines, and I mean, he's not 100% sure, what exactly is going on here, what the build is. He just knows that, a lot of Marines early on could definitely be this kind of build. But he has to do some small assumption, no doubt.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the funny part is the part of the base he missed, the far left, perfectly fits a CC. So right now he's probably thinking to himself like, I just can't work under false assumptions here. This is so unfortunate. You know, he could try to sneak an Overlord in later, but that's expensive. You also look at his supply, 59 of 84. He panicked and made 3 Overlords after he was supply back for losing that last one. So a lot going on here in favor of aLive in this early game. He has this huge advantage of knowledge, and he has these very fast 2 medevacs coming out faster than Dark can necessarily know are coming.
Well, here comes the drop. He actually decides to go with 15 Marines instead of 16. And a big swell of Lings by Dark. So it seems like he does have a good idea of what is coming his way across the map. Feels like he should be able to hold this with just Ling Queen. And even starts his, or finishes his 2 Evo chambers and starts the 1-1 now.
Yeah, he made a ton of Queens. He's got this creature over this 3rd base. The Lings can come down here. Going to go over to the front and attempt to push this back. A Cyclone on the way as well, by the way. I think that might have been a misclick. Perhaps he wanted the Widowmine there. We'll see. Clears up these tumors, forces the Queens back, and just trying to put any pressure that he can. A lot of Lings forced, but Dark already has a pretty nice worker count. He's actually going to bring the Cyclone, whether intentional or not.
Might as well.
So we'll see if that helps him kill some Queens here. The Widowmine production has started afterwards now. Okay, yeah, he's going to lead with the Cyclone here. And that's a bit scary. Dark's going to back off big time, wants to fight on creep. Nice transfuse here.
That's so many Marines coming in, and there's no Banelings here in time. He just made no Banelings.
Look, this looks like,
this looks like the slaughter of the Zerg.
This looks like Star League Season 1 2016. Remember that? When it was single elimination, like a bunch of Zergs died to push like this? Beyond was like, I was like, guns are gone. I'm like, well, these people aren't making Banelings. Here we go again. All right, well, this is just going to be GG. And he just tried to hold out Banes, did not happen. Didn't even need combat shields here.
Yeah, he just walks on in with 4 medevacs, filled with basically just Marines and 1 Cyclone. GG. aLive takes the 2-1 over Dark. Nicely done build there in game number 3.
Really good preparation. You know, the proxy location for the triple barracks on game 2, going into the game 3. Great scout denial in all 3 games. Vision, he was absolutely controlled by him. The proxy barracks just out of Overlord scout range. Game number 1, cutting off the Overlords. Game number 3, denying speed Overlord scouts of his main base. The placement of his buildings to make sure he couldn't even really see whether it's starport up or not. Very well done. Hits with a strong timing here. And I feel like Dark trying to kind of do a catch-all here where he made enough Lings to defend against a small push, but didn't want to overcommit to the Baneling tech because he wasn't sure if there was a 3rd CC there, you know, at least initially.
And I mean, he had the Baneling nest. He just didn't make Banelings. He had like 1 Baneling coming up, and he just was not prepared, you know, to say the least. He just he held off the first attack, and like you're saying, maybe he's just like, okay, I'm safe now. I should be just fine. But he was not ready for the 3rd and 4th medevacs to come on in and swipe that game and series away from him.
Yeah, there you have it. So this puts aLive in a great position in terms of, you know, when you look at tough opponents in the group to defeat Dark, that's one of the tougher ones you're going up against in this round robin.
Yeah, so guys, we are going to go into a quick commercial break here, just about 1:30, and after that we will jump into Bill versus Patience.